SJ Talks to Life coming back at you with another video. If you're new to my channel, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, please, and thank you. Chad Wheeler, um, an ex NFL player, um, has been. Let me read the articles to you. Uh, Ex-girlfriend, a former NFL player, Chad Wheeler, described his conviction for domestic abuse as freeing. Seattle station King TV reports. On Thursday, Wheeler was found guilty of 2 counts of domestic violence stemming from January 2021, a January 2021 incident with Aaliyah Taylor. He faces a minimum of 5 years in prison, according to the court records. Wheeler was accused of holding Taylor down to the ground and choking her twice until she lost consciousness. Taylor said when regained consciousness for the second time, Wheeler was shocked that she was still alive. Reflecting on the gruesome encounter, Taylor believed that she was going to die. It took me a while to fully process it because it's been going on for so long. I'm finally feeling that freeing feeling that like I don't have to feel nervous, Taylor said the night he just decided to take his rage out. On Thursday, Wheeler was found guilty of 2 counts of domestic violence and um, in January 2021, covering that incident with Aaliyah Taylor. He faces a minimum of 5 years in prison. 5 years, that's it? According to court records, Wheeler was accused of holding Taylor down on the ground and choking her twice until she lost consciousness. Taylor said when she regained consciousness for the second time, Wheeler was shocked that she was still alive. Reflecting on the gruesome encounter, Taylor believed that she was going to die. It took me a while to fully process it because it's been going on for so long. I'm finally freeing. I already read that, but responding to the altercation of the law enforcement officers, Taylor was covered. That's the part that I didn't catch. In blood, and her left arm was limp against her body, and was told by the police that she had already died. Wow. So, yeah, this man, Chad Wheeler, um, this happened back in uh, January 2021. Happened back in January of 2021. I was watching her interview. She had an interview with um, what's the name of that lady? Tamron Hall. She was on the Tamron Hall show. She had an interview, and she was saying how um he was so nice, and everything was going so well between them, and they had such a good relationship, um and she said that this incident just totally um took her by surprise. It just completely took her by surprise. She didn't see it coming. But she said something about he was in an incident before, back in college. He was had some type of altercation or had some type of incident back in college, and you know got it cleared up or whatever the situation. As far as I'm concerned, that was a red flag. If he had that incident back in college, that, as far as I'm concerned, that's a red flag. And for him to brutally attack her the way he did, he brutally attacked this woman. They're coming on YouTube saying that um the 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 I'm just give me a minute. Like the divestors. Could think of that for a minute. the divestors, the divestment community here on YouTube. They're saying that um, they're not talking about this situation because this is a white man and um, black female incident. And um, at the time when it happened, I think I remember hearing about it. I do think I remember, vaguely remember hearing about this incident and stuff like that. But it just amazes me how it took that long. You see, he's a white male. He's a white male. So it just amazes me that it took that long for them to finally convict him. He was found guilty of 2 counts of domestic violence. He faces a minimum of 5 years in prison. What's the maximum? Is that the maximum? It says a minimum of 5 years. Is that the is that the most he's gonna do, or that's the minimum sentence? I mean, what is the maximum sentence? Because he choked her till she lost consciousness, and then when she regained consciousness, he was shocked that she was alive. So that means that he wanted to unalive her. That means he was trying to unalive her. He was trying to unalive her. That's what that means. And he busted her face all up. Her face was all bloodied, and which I didn't get that picture. And he broke her arm. He did make an apology to the family. Um, he did make an apology. I thought I got that one. He made an apology to the family and said that um, something had happened that weekend, and apparently he's supposed to be bipolar or something like that. He said something had happened. She was covered in blood, so she was covered in blood and left her left arm was limp against her body, so he broke her arm. And that's what she said in the Tamara Hall interview, that he had broke her arm, messed her up really bad. She's still suffering from the effects of that. And it's November of 2023. This happened in January of 2021, and they're just now. But they said that they kept pushing back the hearing, and so I guess this is a cautionary tale. Um, Statistically, the domestic abuse rates is higher with black men and black women, but there are white men that are doing it, and I'm an advocate for my sisters, for protection for all my sisters. I'm an advocate for black women, protection for black women. I don't care who it is. Ain't nobody got no business beating on, assaulting. That's unacceptable coming from anybody. I don't care what race he is. But this is, and I'm not letting the white man off the hook. I'm not letting him off the hook because he's white. But some other YouTubers are saying the divestment community is not touching this, that they're not talking about it, and I, I'm the mindset that it doesn't matter what color the man is. I'm an advocate for the protection of my black sisters, and 5 years to me is not enough time. That ain't enough time. But see, he's a white male, and that is a cautionary tale. This is a um um because statistically they say the success rate of black women and white men relationships. I was going to actually do a video talking about that, trying to get some clear reasons as to why that is. But they said that statistically, um, the success rate of black women and white men is high. They have a pretty good success rate as far as their relationships and stuff like that. However, they white men do kill black women. They do abuse black women. It's just not as much as black men. And they really haven't been putting this case. They really, really haven't been pushing this case out into the forefront I believe because he is white. If this was a black man, if this was a black athlete that abused a white woman, they would talk about it till the cows come home, and I'm telling the truth. And they would talk about it till the cows come home, but they kind of push this story on the back burner because nobody cares about what happens to black women. And because he's a pro football player, and he's a white male, this story didn't get a lot of coverage. I vaguely remember hearing about this story back in 2021, but it didn't get a lot of. They didn't push it. They didn't push it. They sure didn't push it as much as the Jonathan Major story. They sure didn't push it as much as that. They pushed the Jonathan Major story a lot more than what they pushed this. It sure didn't push this story a lot. Yeah, so that's the difference. He is a white male. And so black women, because we have this whole because black women, more and more black women are considering expanding their options and dating outside the race. And I don't have no problem with that. I actually do think that black women should do that. It's particularly if you're a black woman and you want to get married, because of the simple fact that it's so difficult for us to find marriageable. We outnumber black men, and it's hard for us to find marriageable black men in our community. Um, and if you're a black woman and you want to get married, it would probably be in your best interest to expand your options to other races of men. So I don't have a problem with that at all. But what I don't want black women to do, I don't want black women to get caught up in. Nobody is better because of their race. Now, it could have been that she met this guy, they hit it off, and you know, you know, it happens. But I don't. What I don't want to see is I don't want black women getting a false perception that um, white men are better because of their race. Because no man is better because of their race. You have to vet. It doesn't matter what race of the man is. You, as black women, we have to vet because society. Let's face facts. Society doesn't care about what happens to us. Society does not care about what happens to us. They didn't really push this story. I vaguely remember hearing about this story back then, but they didn't push this story that much. But that Jonathan Major story involving that white woman, they pushed that. So you see the difference. And the justice system weighs heavily in white men's favor, way more than black men. You know, I talked about that in situations where black men getting with black women, especially successful black men getting with white women. Then they have to be careful because if that white woman calls the police on him, that law's gonna be on her side. And that same goes for a black woman. The law is gonna go in his favor. The justice system is gonna go way in his favor. As far as I'm concerned, he need to be getting more than 5 years. 5 years ain't enough, you know. But because he's a white male, he's a pro athlete, she's a black woman, and we're black women. We're not important. We're not as important as white women in American society. They don't care about what happens to us. Now I'm going to tell it like it is and call it like I see it. And black women have to be careful when they get into these relationships with white men. And yes, they do statistically have a higher success rate. But I don't want black women to get a false perception and thinking that all white men are better than black men, because that is simply not true. You have bad men in all races. You have crazy men in all races. And some of these men don't even know they're crazy. How are you supposed to know? They don't even know they're crazy, so how are you supposed to know they crazy? This sounds like a case to where he was crazy and she didn't even know he was crazy. And one day he just went snap. And that's what happens a lot of times when a woman gets comfortable in a relationship and some time has went by and he has won over her heart in any race of men. Then sometimes somebody was talking about that earlier. Was it Joe's Lowell? It was Joe's Lowell. Joe's Lowell did a video today talking about that. She did a video today talking about that very thing. That they wait until you're all in the relationship and you then fell in love and all this kind of stuff, and some time don't went by and everything is going good and hunky dory, and all of a sudden they flip the script on you and they snap on you and they change. But we're told to choose better. How we supposed to know? And a lot of men do that, and white men are guilty. Some white men are guilty at that as well. So black women, and not all white men have the right intentions. Not all white men have the right intentions with black concerning black women, because we have to remember that racism is still at an all-time high in this country. And don't I don't I just think that I don't want black women to get this false perception that um all white men, because of this divestment revolution we have going here. I don't want black women to get a false sense of perception and thinking that the grass is all going to always be greener on the other side, because the grass is not always greener on the other side. It's just like with black men and white women, the grass is not always greener on the other side. So black women have to vet. As black women, we have to vet. It doesn't matter what race of man it is. We have to vet. We have to vet, and we need to pray about it. Um, but it's really sad because she said she didn't see it coming. She said that she did say something about there was he was in an incident in college. And that, to me, that might have been a red flag. And sometimes we ignore the red flags. Sometimes there are red flags and we ignore them. She could have had some other red flags, but ignored them. You know. So I mean, we have to pay attention, and we can't get so caught up in the white knight syndrome. Uh, I'll call it the white knight syndrome. We can't get so caught up in the white knight syndrome that we lose our sense of reality and thinking that this man is white, so he right, because not all of them are right. And the bad part about it is when they do something to you, the justice system is gonna weigh more heavily in their favor because they're black or white males. That's the sad part about it. And then American society don't give a hoot about what happens to black women. Just like with Stacey Dash, that situation with Stacey Dash, where that husband, her ex-husband, jumped on her. I guess he jumped on her, and the kids jumped on her too. The kids confronted her. He confronted her. and she's the one that winded up getting arrested in the situation. And the law, he got the law to side to be on his side of the situation. And so, yeah, black women, we as black women, we have to be careful because that grass is not always greener on the other side. I don't trust none of these men. I don't trust none of them. I don't trust none of them. Even if the man is green, I'm gonna be. I ain't gonna trust you. Well, yeah, he's green. He's a Martian, and you don't know what the Martians are gonna be up to. But I don't trust none of them. Trust is something that has to be earned. I don't trust none of them. I really don't. I'm gonna be honest. I don't trust none of them, and no matter what color, I don't trust. I don't trust any of these men out here. So that's something that I really hate that this happened to this sister. I'm so glad that she survived this. I'm so glad that she got through it and she survived it. But that's something for black women to think about. I'm kind of upset that a minimum of 5 years. What does that mean? Enlighten me in the comment section, please. What does that mean? Minimum. What is the maximum? I mean, he can get up to 5 years, or what's the maximum? Well, it says minimum of 5 years. So what is the maximum? That's my question. So it looks like to me they're gonna be kind of letting him off the hook. He need to be getting more time than that. That's attempted murder. That's attempted murder. You know, and so he need to be getting more time than that. But he's a white male and he's a pro athlete. So you know how that go. So sisters, this be careful. There's nothing wrong with dating outside your race, but just be careful. Just be careful. Don't automatically assume that he's a good man because he's white. You need to take the time to vet. You need to pray about the situation. Because sometimes the white men be low key racist. And I did a video talking about that. And boy, the white folks came for me in that video. I got over 2,000 hits on it. And the white folks came at me. I can come on here and talk about black folks all day long and black men and black women all day long. And they flag it. You don't hear a word out of them. They don't even get in my comment section when I do those videos. But as soon as I do a video addressing white folks, ooh, they lit me up in that comment section of that video. Some of them white people lit me up in that comment section. But I can talk about black folks till the cows come home, and you don't hear a peep out of them. But I was telling the truth. And some of them try to say, "You say all white men." I said, I clearly stated in the video, I didn't say all white men. You know, so I had to come and clarify some things to several people that was on that in that comment section. But I got over 2,000 hits on that video. That video did real well because it was some black women that came on TikTok and they said that you know they had some experiences with dating racist white men. It happens. It's a reality. As black women or any women, we can't be caught. We can't be walking around here with our head in the clouds in a fantasy. We can't have this white knight syndrome, okay, and thinking that all men are good because they're white. Just like all black men are not bad because they're black. So we got to take the time to vet, sisters. We can't get caught up in that because they be doing that too. They be abusing black women too. And it's unacceptable. I don't care what race the man is, it is unacceptable. And I'm not letting these white men off the hook either. Just like I hold the brothers accountable, I'm gonna hold them accountable too. It's even worse when well, it's bad either way. But when you white man do it, you kind of have to wonder if that man was racist, and that adds an extra dangerous element to it. If that man is a white supremacist and you low key didn't know it, and next thing you know, he's jumping on you and stuff, that makes it, oh my goodness, that just makes it even more detrimental. So sisters, black women, we got to be careful. That we got to be careful. We can't be hooking up with no racist white men. Mm-mm. I'm not saying it's okay to divest. It's okay to expand your options, but just be careful. Just be careful. And be realistic and just like you would do with a black man, investigate, check his background, look for any red flags. You do the same things you would do if it was a black man. It doesn't I don't care if the man is green. You gotta do the same thing across the board. Nobody is all good because they're white. Nobody is all good because they're black or all bad because they're black or whatever. Nobody's all bad because they're black. Nobody's all good because they're white. We know the history of white people in this country. Come on. We gotta keep it 100. So, sisters, just be careful. I'm really, really glad that she says she's still suffering from the effects of that. And but I'm really, really glad that the sister survived, and I'm really glad that she's okay. I pray that she can get through this. I'm glad that they finally held him accountable. It took him long enough. It happened in January 2021, so it took them long enough. So I'm glad they finally held him accountable. But you know how it is. Um, but I'm glad that she's going to get some justice, and her and her family is going to get some justice in the situation. So that's a blessing. And he called himself. I did I did see it was this was not the whole article. There was another part of the article where he called himself trying to apologize to her and the family and trying to make excuses. Well, something bad happened that weekend, and I just snapped. So you came home and took it out on your black girlfriend. Wow. So she said she was completely blindsided and she didn't see it coming. But sisters, just look at the red flags. Just pay very close attention to the red flags. It's something the spirit of God is very powerful. If you pray and you ask God and you open up your mind and your heart to see what He shows you, He will show you. I don't care who it is, He will show you. And so you got to be willing to pay attention to what He shows you, because it can be a matter of life and death. You know. So hit me up in that comment section. Let me know what you guys think about that. Yeah, let me know what you think about this in the comment section. But yeah, I wanted to talk about that and address that. Follow me on TikTok. I'm at Sweet June 54 on TikTok. Please and thank you. I got some great things going on over there. And if go ahead and hit that like, subscribe, and that notification bell so every time I do a video, you will be notified. And until the next video, you guys be blessed.